What's up everyone, I am the Gentleman. Today I'll be reviewing the fantasy cult classic, The NeverEnding Story. We find ourselves back in the 80s because that was the best decade for movies. Don't agree? That's okay, your profile pic is probably an anime character anyway. Based off the novel written by Michael Ende, he actually hated the movie and even tried to sue the studio. But that story ended when he lost the trial. Though to most people, the movie was remembered fondly. Hell, I used to watch this all the time on TV, and now it reminds me of a simpler time. However, just because a movie can be a great piece of nostalgia, it doesn't always mean it ages well. You know what they say, a story stays the same, only your perspective changes. So let's jump back to 1984 with our 2019 eyes. Also, happy 35th anniversary. The NeverEnding Story is about an outcast bookworm named Bastian who is grieving over the loss of his mom along with his douchebag dad, who tells him to get his head out of the clouds and focus on the real world shit like school. You know, a wise man once said, never lose your dinosaur. On his way to school, Bastian gets bullied by some Canadian kids and thrown in the dumpster. Maybe a copy of the NeverEnding Story 3 is in there too. I'm sure Jack Black would agree. Bastian escapes the dumpster but is met with the bullies again and gets chased. He loses them when he runs into a bookstore with a creepy owner who hates kids nowadays because they don't read anymore. All they do is play video games, be on their phones, and whine on social media all day. Bastian is curious about the book the old man is reading, so he steals it when the man gets a phone call. Yes, he stole it. I know he leaves a note that he'll return it, but he doesn't. What a dick. Late for school again, and instead of taking a math test, Bastian does what every normal kid would do. He locks himself in the school attic to read. So he opens up the Slytherin cover and now jumps into the world of Fantasia. Here we see our first group of characters running from the unseen force called the Nothing. These characters look pretty interesting and I like their interactions with each other. I sure hope we see them again, but we don't. We learn that the Nothing is destroying Fantasia and the Empress has fallen ill. She must have just finished watching Dark Phoenix, so she sends for Atreyu, the Great Warrior, to find a cure and stop the Nothing. But wait, he's just a boy!
I'm the only Atreyu of the Plains people. But I'll be happy to go back hunting the purple buffalo.
Well, alright then. Atreyu is given the Arin, the same symbol on the cover of the book, to guide him and help him on his quest. He is directed to seek out Morla, the Ancient One, in the swamps of sadness. He and his horse Artax must keep the sadness away, otherwise they'll sink in the... oh crap, I remember this part now.
Stupid horse! You gotta move or you'll die! Move, please! I won't give up! Don't quit! Artax!
Artax! No! We hardly knew you. Seriously though, we hardly knew you. Atreyu eventually finds Morla, who is actually a giant tortoise, and for whatever reason this scares Bastian so loud that even the story characters can hear him. This is the first moment that he learns that there's more to this book. Morla basically tells Atreyu that she doesn't care about what's going on and doesn't know how to help the Empress, and even if she did, she wouldn't care. Jeez, thanks for nothing, bitch. Although, she does direct him to seek out the Southern Oracle who would know how to help the Empress. So Atreyu goes on his merry way, but after a while he collapses due to exhaustion, and then he dies. Or so we think. Enter Deus Ex Machina Dragon Dog Falcor.
I'm a luck dragon.
Oh, pardon me. He takes Atreyu to a gnome home that's right near the entrance of the Southern Oracle. Golly, talk about dumb luck.
I'm a luck dragon.
Before this though, we see the Nothing summon a wolf-like creature called the Gamork to kill Atreyu before he completes his quest. He looks awesome, and I cannot wait for their epic showdown. Back to the House of Gnome, not only are they close to the entrance, but the guy Gnome is an expert on the Southern Oracle and knows how to get past the 2 trials. Golly, talk about dumb luck.
I'm a luck dragon.
He gets past the first one, then on to the second one where you supposedly see who you really are. He actually sees Bastian. So does that mean that deep down Bastian sees himself as brave as Atreyu, and that Atreyu sees himself as a little bitch? Whatever the case, it works, and the Southern Oracle tells him that the Empress must be renamed by a human child outside the boundaries of Fantasia. Seems easy. So him and Falcor are flying looking for the boundaries of Fantasia, but how are they going to find it?
With luck.
Oh yeah, during all this, the kids leave the school due to a severe thunderstorm, which means Bastian is locked in the school. So he does what any normal kid would do, and just goes back to the attic and continues to read. I'm sure his dad will come looking for him. Back to Fantasia, Atreyu and Falkor get knocked out by what was supposed to be like a wind god, but that scene was cut. Well, that would have been cool. Atreyu wakes up on the shore of the Sea of Possibilities and notices the Orin is gone. He comes across the rock biter from earlier, and it turns out his friends, who he barely met in the beginning of the movie, were taken out by the Nothing. He then proceeds to the ruins and then is met with the Gamorreek for their epic showdown, but like every cheesy villain, he has to explain what's happening. He says that Fantasia represents human imagination and thus are no boundaries. He also says that the Nothing represents loss of hopes and dreams. Okay, Wolfie, thanks for that. Now will you two just fight already? Oh yeah. Wait, just like that? Really? Lame. Apparently during shooting, Noah Hathaway, who plays Atreyu, was injured by the Gamorreek animatronic, so they had to do this in one shot. I mean, I'm glad he's okay, but damn, that should have been way cooler. The Nothing consumes the ruins, but Falkor finds the Orin and Atreyu just in time. Wow, how did he do that?
With luck.
Okay, I get it already. Shit, I can sure use a luck dragon. So they ended up in this space void where I guess the Nothing did consume Fantasia. Whatever. Atreyu uses the Orin to find the Ivory Tower and speak to the Empress, who is also a child. Atreyu apologizes for failing the Empress, but she was all like, no you didn't, you brought me a child outside the boundaries. Referring to Bastian. She further explains that since Bastian is reading their story, there are others reading his story, and so on, thus becoming a never-ending story. Oh, I get it. I guess. Wait, does that mean someone's reading my story right now? Like this very moment? If so, then I apologize for the mess I made in the toilet this morning. The Nothing begins to consume the Ivory Tower and kills Atreyu. The Empress calls out to Bastian to say her new name. He now accepts that he's part of the story and yells out what sounds like Moonchild. I guess that was his mom's name because he kind of alluded to it earlier. So Moonchild gives Bastian a grain of sand, which represents the last of Fantasia, and now he has the power of unlimited wishes. With that, he brings back Fantasia, including Atreyu, Artax, and the characters from the beginning of the movie. He also uses Falkor to scare the bullies from earlier, bringing a dog dragon into the real world. I wonder how the people will respond to that. Good job, Bastian. Now the government wants Falkor. Also, your dad never came looking for your punk ass. He hates you. And that's the never-ending story. Despite the movie ending in the halfway point of the book, it had some creative visuals and some ambition. I love the idea of never losing your imagination only to be grounded in the real world, becoming an automaton. The world needs more creativity. Though some of the effects look a little dated and the acting sometimes reaches Troll 2 levels, and the plot is contrived, but at the end of the day, it is a nice movie that has aged alright. Though I don't think kids today may not like it as much because there's no multiplayer and campaigns suck, bro. So as always, I'll be back soon with the new movie, or if you have any suggestions, please leave them in the comments down below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to this wonderful channel. I am the gentleman, I observe the world so we can all laugh at it. Bye bye.
Could you get round and scratch behind my... I could never quite reach it.
Here?
Yeah. Oh.
Turn around, look at what you see.